Picture this, you're at a coffee shop, and two guys walk in. The first one rolls up in a brand new Mercedes, wearing designer sneakers, rocking a gold watch that catches everyone's eye. He orders the most expensive thing on the menu, tips big, and leaves like he owns the place. Everyone in that coffee shop thinks that guy is doing well. Then the second guy walks in plain white t-shirt, worn in jeans, drives a used Toyota Camry with 80,000 miles on it. He orders a regular black coffee, sits in the corner, and quietly reads a book. Here's the twist, and I need you to stay with me on this. The guy in the Camry, he has a $4 million investment portfolio. The guy with the Mercedes, he's 3 paychecks away from losing everything. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going deep on one of the most fascinating and honestly kind of heartbreaking illusions in personal finance: why millionaires look broke and broke people look rich. And by the end of this video, you're going to see money and people completely differently. Let me tell you about a guy named Marcus. Marcus grew up in a modest neighborhood, worked his way through college, landed a decent job in his late 20s, and by 35, he had quietly built up close to $800,000 in assets, mostly index funds, a paid-off car, and a house with a reasonable mortgage. From the outside, you'd never know. Marcus drove a 2016 Honda Accord. His clothes were clean, but nothing flashy. When his coworkers went out for expensive team dinners, Marcus would usually suggest the taco spot down the street. Some people at his office actually felt a little sorry for him. They assumed he was struggling. But here's the thing about Marcus: he knew something most people don't. He understood a simple but brutal truth about money: wealth is what you don't see. This is actually something Dr. Thomas Stanley and William Danko explored in their iconic book, The Millionaire Next Door. After interviewing thousands of actual millionaires across America, they found something shocking. Most of them didn't look rich at all. They lived in average neighborhoods. They drove domestic cars. They shopped at regular grocery stores. The flashy lifestyle, that was mostly the people who wanted to look rich, not the people who actually were rich. And this isn't just an old concept. It's more relevant now than ever before, because we live in the age of social media, where looking wealthy has become a full-time job for some people. Think about your Instagram or TikTok feed right now. How many people do you follow who are constantly posting private jet photos, luxury hotel rooms, expensive restaurant meals, designer hauls? Now ask yourself, how many of those people are actually wealthy, and how many are just performing wealth? There's a term called aspirational spending, and social media has turned it into a lifestyle. People aren't just buying things for themselves anymore. They're buying things for the image those things create. The car isn't just transportation, it's a status signal. The vacation isn't just rest, it's content. And the worst part? It works. We see it, we feel it, we want it. Our brains are literally wired to compare ourselves to others. Psychologists call it social comparison theory. We determine our own worth, partly by looking at the people around us. So when your neighbor pulls up in a Range Rover, something in your brain fires and says, why don't I have that? Am I falling behind? But here's what you don't see: the $1,100 a month lease payment, the maxed out credit card from the last vacation, the thin savings account that couldn't survive one medical emergency. The Range Rover is real. The wealth? That's the illusion. Let me introduce you to another character. Let's call her Priya. Priya makes $65,000 a year, which is a solid income, but she spends like she makes $120,000. New clothes every season, dining out 4 nights a week, a luxury apartment in the trendy part of town, annual international vacations always documented, always on Instagram. She keeps up with every trend. She always looks put together. People at her job assume she either comes from money or has a secret side hustle. Here's Priya's actual financial picture: $9,000 in credit card debt, $180 in her savings account, no emergency fund, no retirement savings. She's been meaning to start investing for 3 years. Priya isn't a bad person. She's not stupid. She's caught in a trap that millions of people fall into: the trap of lifestyle inflation and identity spending. When we spend money on visible things, nice clothes, cars, vacations, we get something in return: social status, admiration, a sense of belonging. That's a real psychological reward. Our brain releases dopamine. It feels good. But the problem is that feeling is temporary, and to keep getting it, you have to keep spending. It's a cycle that is really hard to break, especially when everyone around you seems to be doing the same thing. The technical term for this is conspicuous consumption, spending money specifically to signal wealth to others. The economist Thorstein Veblen identified this pattern all the way back in 1899. And over 100 years later, we're doing it harder than ever, just on platforms Veblen couldn't have imagined. So what's different about the people who are actually building wealth? What's going on in their heads? Let me share 3 mindset shifts that quietly wealthy people tend to have and that most people never talk about. Mindset shift #1. They measure wealth by freedom, not by appearance. Real wealth isn't a car or a watch. Real wealth is the ability to say no, to walk away from a bad job, to take a month off without panicking, to handle an unexpected expense without your whole life falling apart. Warren Buffett, worth tens of billions, famously still lives in the same house he bought in Omaha in 1958 for $31,500. He eats McDonald's for breakfast, not because he can't afford better, but because his sense of identity doesn't come from showing off. His wealth is about options, not optic. Mindset shift, #2. They understand the difference between assets and liabilities. Robert Kiyosaki popularized this in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and while the book has its criticism, this concept is gold. An asset puts money into your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That flashy car? Liability, the moment you drive it off the lot, it starts losing value. The payments drain your cash flow. The insurance is higher. It costs you every month. Meanwhile, the quietly wealthy person invests that same money in something that grows: index fund, real estate, a business, things that generate returns while they sleep. Mindset shift, #3. They play a long game. Here's a stat that should stop you in your track. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 25 with an average 8% annual return, by age 65, you'll have roughly $1.75 million. Wait until 35 to start, you'll have about $745,000. Same monthly amount. 10 years of delay cost you over $1 million. The quietly wealthy aren't smarter than everyone else. They just started early and stayed consistent. They resisted the urge to look rich today so they could actually be rich tomorrow. Now here's where this gets really important, because the illusion of wealth doesn't just hurt individuals, it creates a dangerous social cycle. When you see people around you spending lavishly, you think that's the norm, so you spend more to keep up. They see you spending more and feel pressure to spend even more. Everyone's signaling wealth, everyone's going deeper into debt, and nobody talks about it because money is one of the last real taboos in our culture. There's a study from Princeton that found people consistently overestimate how wealthy their peers are, often by a significant margin. We see the highlight reel of other people's lives and compare it to our behind the scenes. This is sometimes called the comparison trap, and social media has poured gasoline on it. The really painful irony, the people you're trying to impress are often doing the same thing you are spending money. They don't have to look like they do. It's a performance where everyone's in the audience and everyone's on stage at the same time. And the people who quietly opted out of the performance, they're the ones sitting on real wealth. Okay, so what do we actually do with all of it? Because understanding the problem is only half the battle. Here are 4 practical things you can start doing right now. 1. Audit your status spending. Go through your last 3 months of expenses and honestly ask yourself, did I buy this because I needed it or because of how it would make me look? No judgment, just awareness, because you can't fix a leak you can't see. 2. Redefine what winning looks like for you. What does your ideal life actually look like? Not your Instagram-worthy life, but your real life. For a lot of people, it's flexibility, time with family, security, the ability to travel without going into debt. Define your version of rich, not society's version. 3. Make invisible wealth visible, at least to yourself. Wealthy people often track net worth obsessively, not because they're obsessed with money, but because they want to see the real scoreboard, not the fake one. Apps like Yenab, or even a simple spreadsheet, can help you see your actual financial picture and feel proud of the progress that nobody else can see. 4. Delay visible purchases. Accelerate invisible investment. Before any major purchase, a car, a vacation, anything over a certain amount, give yourself a 30-day waiting period. Put the money into your investment account instead. If after 30 days you still want it and you can genuinely afford it, great, but you might find the urge pass and your future self will be very grateful. Here's the thing I want you to walk away with today. The world is full of people performing wealth, driving cars they can't afford, living in apartments that stretch them thin, posting vacations that went on credit card. And there's no judgment here, we're all swimming in the same current. But underneath the surface, quietly and consistently, there are people building something real. They're not on your radar because they're not trying to be. They're too busy actually getting there. The question I want to leave you with is this: are you building wealth or are you building the appearance of wealth? Because you can't do both at the same time, at least not for long. If this video made you think differently about money, status, do me a favor, drop a comment below and tell me one thing you're going to stop spending on to actually start building wealth. I read every single one. And if you're new here, this channel is all about real, honest conversations about personal finance, no get rich quick stuff, just the real game. Hit subscribe if that sounds like something you need in your life. I'll see you in the next one.